Hi, I'm Ruth, and I want to tell you a little bit about some of the memorials that can be found in the north nave aisle of Salisbury Cathedral. The first is a very poignant, very beautiful memorial to Edward Tennant, Edward Bim Tennant. He was killed in the First World War. He was a young officer, only 19 when he was killed by a sniper's bullet, and he was a war poet as well. And he was just on the cusp of having an anthology of poetry published when he was killed. He grew up in Wilsford, near Salisbury, in the Woodford Valley. His parents, Lord and Lady Glenconner, very wealthy, very well connected. Lady Glenconner, Pamela Wyndham, as was, she was a socialite and writer. He was educated at Winchester. He was destined for the Foreign Office, but war broke out and he sought a commission with the Grenadier Guards. He actually went out aged 18 to the Western Front. He survived 13 months, but as I say, killed in the Battle of the Somme, 1916, by a sniper's bullet. We know quite a bit about Edward, or Bim. The one thing we don't know is actually where his nickname comes from, the term of endearment that, as I say, family and friends used. But what we do know comes from his mother, Lady Pamela, who published a memoir in 1919, which features Bim's poetry and his letters home, both of which really belie his very young age. The memoir also includes some very touching, very moving letters of condolence, not only from fellow officers, but also from Bim's men, from the soldiers that he led into battle. And it's from one of these letters that one of the tributes and dedications on this memorial comes, and it finishes with the words, "It was a treat to see his face always smiling. When the danger was greatest, his smile was loveliest," which I think is a moving tribute. We move on from Bim's memorial to a commemorative window. This is the Army Air Corps window and was dedicated in 2007 on the occasion of the Corps' 50th anniversary, having been formed in 1957. The window was designed by Caroline Swash and features Archangel Michael on the left and St Christopher on the right. There's also an incredible amount of detail reflecting the work of the Army Air Corps, which, by the way, is based out at Middle Wallop. On the left-hand side, if you look closely at the top of near the top of the window, you'll see two helicopters depicted, the Gazelle and the Sioux. The Gazelle actually replaced the Sioux helicopter in the 50s and 60s. And the Gazelle was built under licence from French design down at Westlands in Yeovil. On the right-hand side is another workhorse of the Army Air Corps, which is the Lynx. And that was also a Westland helicopter. That is now morphed into the Wildcat. That's another story. But one of the helicopters, a very distinctive helicopter, is the Apache, and that is also featured on the right-hand side. The fixed-wing aircraft that were flown by the Army Air Corps included the Oster, especially just immediately post-war, and later on the Islander aircraft, both British made, designed, built, and used for observation. Finally, in this 75th anniversary year of the ending of the Second World War, we need to mention the Salisbury War Memorial window, which was a gift from the people of Salisbury, from the city of Salisbury, to the cathedral. It was dedicated in 1949 in the presence of Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, and was designed by Christopher Webb. It's a memorial to all of those people from the area who served not just in the forces on the front line, but also to all the uniformed services on the home front, men and women. And so features not only the Army, Navy and Air Force, but also firefighters, civil defence, the Women's Land Army and the uniformed women's services. It actually depicts on both lights, again it's got two panels, and depicts in both different representations of St Michael, but you might find that in other guides it will be described as being Archangel Gabriel on the left and St George on the right, but the cathedral's blue book, the guide for guides, does tell us that in fact these are representations of St Michael.